Many remember Janis Joplin as a blazing fire of American music, but few truly understand the pain behind her dazzling glow. Even 55 years after her sudden death, people still wonder why those closest to her called her ugly, a wound that drove her down a path of self-destruction and ultimately led to her untimely end. For decades, the real cause of her sudden passing remained a mystery, but new revelations are slowly shedding light on what really happened. Did Joplin truly die from a drug overdose? Or was there a darker truth hidden behind it all? Let's uncover that truth while looking back at some of her rarest photographs. Childhood in Port Arthur was a series of deep cuts. Cystic acne left her with pitted scars. Her weight shot up and the taunts sliced like knives. Classmates gave her cruel nicknames, pushing Janis into the dark corners of the classroom. She once confessed, "I was an outcast." While other girls learned to wear makeup and flirt, Janis quietly clutched her guitar, swallowed her tears, and wrote melodies soaked in pain. In 1960, Janis graduated from high school, still unsure where she belonged. She tried the University of Texas but quickly spiraled into crisis. Wounded and rejected, she chose a different path. Music, not the sweet pop hits dominating radio at the time, but raw, rebellious folk and blues, just like her. In December 1962, at only 19 and still enrolled at the University of Texas, she recorded her first song, "What Good Can Drinking Do?" That recording marked the beginning of a turbulent yet extraordinary musical journey that would touch millions worldwide. But her life was about to veer in an entirely different direction. When Janis decided to leave Texas for San Francisco, searching for a new beginning, she needed to escape the chains of a mind at war with itself. San Francisco, with its vibrant atmosphere and countercultural spirit, seemed like the perfect place for Janis to find peace and acceptance. But things didn't go as she had hoped. She soon spiraled into a world of alcohol and drugs. The once fiery performances grew dull as she struggled to stay on stage while battling her inner demons. Rumors spread that she was a speed freak who occasionally used heroin, and music producers seemed more intrigued by her wild lifestyle than her actual talent. As her dependence on drugs deepened, trouble followed. In 1963, she was arrested for shoplifting in Berkeley, becoming the subject of ridicule in local newspapers. Despite countless warning signs, Janis couldn't escape the grip of drugs and alcohol. She hit rock bottom, surviving on charity kitchen meals, wandering aimlessly with a frail 40-kilo frame and vacant eyes. Her family and friends, terrified as they watched her self-destruct, knew they had to act. So they came up with a plan, a bus fare party to raise enough money to send Janis back to Texas, away from the white smoke hell. In the spring of 1965, Janis returned to Port Arthur like a ghost of her former self. Fragile yet with a glimmer of determination in her eyes. She quit drugs, sobered up, adopted an eccentric beehive hairstyle, and enrolled as an anthropology major at Lamar University, as if trying to wipe the slate clean and rewrite her life. Even so, deep down, Janis knew she couldn't stay in Port Arthur forever. Music was her true destiny, and she had to return to San Francisco to make it real. So in 1965, Janis went back to San Francisco determined to conquer the world. By day, she studied at Lamar University. By night, she secretly performed solo at small music clubs in Austin, then hurried off to San Francisco to take extra music lessons. Once she even sang at a fundraiser for blues legend Mance Lipcomb, though she battled such intense stage fright that her hands trembled and nearly dropped the microphone. Then fate appeared unexpectedly, not as a musical breakthrough, but as a lightning strike romance. In the fall of 1965, Janis shocked her friends by announcing her engagement to Peter DeLance, a dashing IBM computer employee from New York. Peter was so smitten that he traveled all the way to Texas to ask her parents for permission to marry her. The two of them dreamed of a little house by the sea, a few children, and romantic candlelit nights filled with music. The wedding dress had been chosen, and the invitations were already being planned. But life had never allowed Janis any peace. Just when happiness seemed finally within reach, Peter abruptly called off the engagement. His job required constant travel, and he didn't want to tie Janis to a lonely life of waiting. The news cut through her heart like a knife. She collapsed for days. But this time, instead of turning back to alcohol and drugs, Janis stood up. She began seeing Bernard Gitano, a psychological social worker who quietly pulled her out of the darkness. Gitano later recalled that Janis was always torn between her hunger for fame and her fear of relapsing. But he looked her straight in the eyes and told her, "You don't need drugs to become a legend. You're already extraordinary." Those words were like the final spark that reignited the dying fire inside her. Janis threw herself into music with a newfound passion, performing regularly at the Coffee Gallery in North Beach. And it was there that destiny came calling again. Cadet Helms, the eccentric manager of the band Big Brother and the holding company. After just a few minutes of hearing her sing, C knew she was the missing piece of the band and persuaded her to join as their lead singer. At first, Janis hesitated. She feared that returning to San Francisco might pull her back into old habits, and she didn't want to disappoint her family again. The city held too many painful memories. But something deep inside her whispered that this was the chance she had been waiting for. Against all odds, she agreed to join Big Brother and the holding company on June 4th, 1966. Her first public performance with the band took place at the Avalon Ballroom in San Francisco, and it was an electrifying triumph. Her voice didn't just soar, it tore through the air, blending with the psychedelic haze of smoke and flashing lights, sending the hippie crowd into a trance. It wasn't merely a concert. It was the moment Janis became her truest self, an artist, a rebel icon, a blazing flame ignited in the heart of San Francisco. From then on, the nights kept coming. Phililmore West, Winterland Ballroom, Avalon, wherever Big Brother played, there were screaming crowds, fists raised, and waves of electric sound roaring through the air. The pinnacle came at the Metairie Pop Festival in June 1967. When Janis began to sing, the audience froze as if struck by lightning, then erupted into wild hysteria. The band's debut album, Big Brother and the Holding Company, soon followed, carrying songs like Down on Me and Cuckoo across FM airwaves, propelling Janis Joplin into the spotlight as a phenomenon of the counterculture movement. But behind the blazing stage lights, a silent war was tearing her apart. The temptations of alcohol and drugs lingered like shadows, quietly pulling her away from the glow. She had promised her family to stay clean, and once even broke down in tears after walking in on bandmate Travis Rivers and his friends shooting up in their shared apartment. Furious that their no needles pact had been broken right before her eyes. Keyboardist Steven Ryder and other members tried desperately to shield her from the deadly pull, but it was nearly impossible. The relentless touring schedule, the crushing pressure to burn bright night after night, left her collapsing backstage into bottles and secret doses, as if only they could quiet the screaming in her head. And then just when the spotlight seemed to be laying out a red carpet, it suddenly turned to ice. In early 1968, the band headed to Chicago to record their second album, a breakthrough they had dreamed of for years. But their financial backer unexpectedly ran out of funds, abandoning them in a cold, indifferent city far from home. They had no money to return, no warm welcome, and the few tracks they managed to record sounded lifeless and uninspired. The dazzling dream had become a burden. When the train finally carried them back to San Francisco, no one said a word. There were only hollow stares like the sky had just collapsed, and the stars they thought they were holding had slipped through their fingers. But just when things seemed most hopeless, a spark of hope appeared. On July 31st, 1968, Janis made her first appearance on national television on the show This Morning. Yet the joy quickly turned bittersweet when the station accidentally erased the footage, leaving only the audio behind. Fortunately, that same year, the band released their first album with Columbia Records, Cheap Thrills, and it exploded, soaring to number one. While the single Piece of My Heart climbed into the top 12. From an outcast, Janis Joplin had transformed into a powerful rock icon, her voice laying bare her deepest emotions, pain and joy, love and profound loneliness. But even with success, her inner demons continued to hunt her. Janis left Big Brother and the holding company to form a new group, the Cosmic Blues Band, what seemed like a fresh start. However, the pull of heroin dragged her back into its deadly spiral. By early 1969, she was reportedly spending about $200 a day on heroin, a destructive habit that didn't even include the recording of I Got Demo Old Cosmic Blues Again, Mama. Producer Gabriel Meckler tried to shield her from drugs by having her stay with him in Los Angeles during the recording sessions, but the addiction proved too powerful to resist. And while Janis basked in the dazzling lights and the adoration of her fans, her life had become a sad tune, a haunting melody of missed chances and self-destruction. At Woodstock on August 17, 1969, as she nervously waited backstage, the anxiety overwhelmed her, and she turned to heroin and alcohol to calm down. When it was finally her turn to perform, the crowd was buzzing with anticipation, but the reality was disappointing. Her once mighty voice was weak, and the passionate energy in her movements had turned into a staggering sway. Her struggles bled into her performances. Even sharing the stage with the legendary Tina Turner couldn't save her from the grip of drugs. Yet even as storms raged around her, there were fleeting moments when Janis Joplin's life softened, like sunlight breaking through heavy clouds. During a trip to Brazil, she unexpectedly found a pocket of peace when she met David Nass, a man who gently soothed her wounded heart. That brief whirlwind romance, along with the calm rhythms of the tropics, helped Janis break free from drugs and alcohol for a short while. It was like a rare pause, a moment for her soul to breathe and dream of a tomorrow free from addiction. But peace was only a passing illusion. When she returned to the U.S., her addiction surged back like a storm. Soon, Janis fell in love with Peggy Serta, who was also battling substance abuse. Their love couldn't save them. It only pulled their lives deeper into chaos. Still, Janis was never someone who could remain still in the darkness. Even at her most exhausted, she longed to rise again to prove her heart still carried fire. In 1970, she formed a new band called Full Tilt Boogie. It was a desperate yet hopeful effort, a declaration that she still hungered for life and for music. Their sound was met with an outpouring of praise, and on stage, Janis seemed to burn bright once more. But behind the lights, the shadows lingered. She continued battling her addiction, despite swearing countless times to quit. The lonely nights, the grueling tours, the forced smiles hiding a weary heart. All of it was slowly wearing her down. Then tragedy struck. On October 4, 1970, Janis was found dead in her room at the Landmark Motor Hotel in Los Angeles. The scene was haunting. A broken nose, bloodied lips, and a silent genius gone forever. The official report ruled her death an accidental heroin overdose, possibly worsened by alcohol. Close friends like Peggy Serta believe Janis may have unknowingly taken a stronger dose than usual, while her tolerance had diminished over time. Whatever the truth, one fact was undeniable. Her death shocked the world. Friends and loved ones were consumed with guilt. Peggy tearfully admitted she had promised to visit Janis in Los Angeles, but by the time she arrived, Janis was already gone. Her fiancé, Seth Morgan, also failed to keep his promise to see her before that fateful day. According to Serta, Janis had been deeply hurt that neither Morgan nor Serta showed up as promised. People she had hoped would bring warmth to her soul on that final night. In a phone call less than 24 hours before her death, Janis reportedly erupted in anger at Morgan, but the details of that conversation remain a mystery. No one knows how it may have affected her state of mind. Serta also speculated that Janis may have hit her head when her sandal caught on the shag carpet in her room, possibly speeding the tragedy. Still, experts largely agree that drugs and alcohol were the true forces that drove her to the edge. Janis's body was later cremated at Pierce Brothers' Westwood Village Memorial Park and Mortuary. Her ashes were scattered over the Pacific Ocean from an airplane, as if setting free a soul that had long been imprisoned in pain. And though her body dissolved into the sea breeze, Janis Joplin's legacy remained brilliant and alive, like the voice that once left the world in stunned silence. Pearl, the album released after her death, became a massive success, featuring timeless songs like Me and Bobby McGee and Mercedes-Benz. Janis Joplin may be gone, but her raw, heartfelt voice still echoes through time, continuing to ignite the spirits of countless artists and fans. A shooting star may have burned out, but the trail of light she left behind still blazes across the sky of music.